Ana de Armas walked into the brightly lit studio, her heart full of excitement. She had been looking forward to this day for weeks. The late-night talk show was one of the most popular programs on television, and being invited as a guest felt like a big step in her career. Ana had worked hard to get here, leaving her home in Cuba at a young age, learning English, and proving herself in Hollywood's competitive world. Tonight she was there to promote her latest movie, a thrilling action film she had starred in alongside Keanu Reeves. Her co-star was already seated when she arrived, his calm presence making her feel more at ease. The host of the show greeted Ana warmly as she took her place on the couch between him and Keanu. He was known for his quick humor and sharp jokes, but also for sometimes crossing the line with his comments. Still, Ana didn't let that bother her. She smiled brightly, waving to the cheering audience before sitting down. She wore a stunning gown that sparkled under the bright studio lights, drawing compliments from people around her. Everything seemed perfect so far. Little did she know, things were about to take an unexpected turn. As the interview began, the host started with some lighthearted questions. He joked about the challenges of working on an action-packed movie and asked Keanu how he managed to stay so cool during intense scenes. Keanu responded with his usual charm, sharing funny stories from the set while keeping the mood light. When it came time to ask Ana questions, the tone shifted slightly. At first, it seemed harmless enough. The host commented on her accent, teasing her good-naturedly about pronouncing certain words differently. Ana laughed along, brushing it off as playful banter, but soon the remarks became less friendly and more pointed. "Do you ever worry that your accent might confuse people?" the host asked, leaning back in his chair with a smirk. His tone carried a hint of mockery, though he still tried to pass it off as humor. Ana hesitated for a moment, unsure how to respond. She chose her words carefully, explaining how proud she was of where she came from and how much effort she had put into mastering English. Her answer was polite and thoughtful, but the host didn't seem satisfied. Instead of moving on, he pressed further, asking if she ever struggled to understand scripts or communicate effectively on set. The audience grew quieter, sensing the shift in energy. Some people exchanged uneasy glances, wondering whether they should laugh or not. Ana, however, remained composed. She smiled graciously, refusing to let the host's words upset her. "It's been a journey," she replied softly, choosing her words wisely. "But I've learned so much along the way, and I'm grateful for every opportunity." Her response was dignified, yet the host wasn't done. He continued to make snide remarks, questioning her choice of roles and implying that she might not have earned her success entirely on merit. Keanu watched silently as the conversation unfolded. He could see the tension building in Ana's expression, even though she tried to hide it. Her forced smile couldn't mask the discomfort in her eyes. Keanu knew what it was like to face criticism and judgment in the public eye. He had spent decades navigating the ups and downs of fame, always striving to stay grounded and kind. Seeing someone else go through something similar stirred something inside him, a mix of anger and protectiveness. He glanced at the host, noting the smug look on his face, and then back at Ana, who was doing her best to handle the situation gracefully. Despite the growing unease, Ana kept answering the host's questions with poise. Each insult seemed designed to chip away at her confidence, but she refused to let it show. She spoke passionately about her work, emphasizing the dedication and sacrifices she had made to reach this point in her career. Her answers were heartfelt and genuine, earning nods of approval from parts of the audience. Yet, no matter how eloquently she responded, the host found ways to twist her words or add unnecessary commentary. It was clear that he wasn't interested in having a fair conversation. He wanted to entertain himself and provoke a reaction. By now, the atmosphere in the studio felt heavy. Even the usually lively audience had grown subdued, their laughter replaced by awkward silence. Backstage crew members exchanged worried looks, unsure what to do. They weren't used to seeing interviews take such a negative turn, especially on live television. Meanwhile, viewers at home tuned in expecting a fun evening of celebrity gossip and entertainment. What they got instead was something far more unsettling, a reminder of how cruel the media spotlight can sometimes be. For Anna, the experience was both frustrating and exhausting. She had prepared for tough questions, knowing that talk shows often pushed boundaries to keep things interesting. But nothing could have prepared her for the personal nature of the host's attacks. Every comment about her accent, her background, or her career choices felt like a direct hit to her self-esteem. Still, she held her ground, determined not to give him the satisfaction of seeing her break. Deep down, she hoped someone would step in and change the direction of the conversation. And unbeknownst to her, help was closer than she realized. Keanu sat quietly beside her, his mind racing. He knew he couldn't stay silent forever. If no one else was going to stand up for Anna, then it would have to be him. After all, they were colleagues, friends, and partners in this project. More importantly, they were human beings deserving of respect and kindness. As the minutes ticked by, Keanu's resolve grew stronger. He wouldn't let the host get away with treating anyone this way. Not tonight, not ever. Something had to be said, and he was ready to say it. Keanu Reeves sat on the couch, his jaw tightening with each passing second. He could feel the tension in the air, thick and uncomfortable, like a storm about to break. The host's words hung heavy, dripping with mockery and disdain. Ana de Armas, sitting just a few inches away, was doing her best to stay composed. Her polite smiles and calm answers only seemed to fuel the host's determination to push further. Keanu watched as the light in her eyes dimmed slightly, replaced by a flicker of hurt that she tried hard to hide. He knew that look. It was the same one he'd seen in mirrors after years of navigating fame and criticism. The host leaned forward, resting his elbows on the desk. "So, Anna," he began, his tone laced with sarcasm, "do you think Hollywood takes actors like you seriously? Or are you just here because people find your accent charming?" The audience shifted uncomfortably in their seats. A few nervous chuckles rippled through the room. But most people stayed silent. They could sense something wasn't right. This wasn't playful teasing anymore, it felt mean-spirited, almost cruel. Keanu's fingers curled into a loose fist beneath the table. His mind raced, weighing his options. Should he say something? Now? Would it make things worse? But as the host smirked, clearly enjoying the discomfort he was creating, Keanu realized there was no choice. Staying quiet would be complicity, and he couldn't live with that. Anna took a deep breath before responding. Her voice remained steady, though it carried a hint of sadness. "I've worked very hard to be where I am today," she said softly, choosing her words carefully. "And I believe that talent speaks louder than anything else." Her answer was dignified, yet the host didn't seem satisfied. Instead of acknowledging her response, he tilted his head and raised an eyebrow. "Oh, come on," he said with a dismissive laugh. "You can't expect us to believe that everyone in Hollywood is hiring you based purely on talent, can you?" That was the moment when Keanu decided enough was enough. He had always believed in standing up for what was right, even if it meant risking backlash or making waves. And this blatant disrespect aimed at someone who didn't deserve it, was unacceptable. Slowly he leaned forward, his tall frame commanding attention without him saying a word. The movement caught the host's eye, and for a brief second, the man faltered. There was a flash of uncertainty in his expression, as if he suddenly realized he might have gone too far. But it was too late to backtrack now. "Excuse me," Keanu said, his deep voice cutting through the tension like a knife. The entire studio froze. Cameras continued rolling, capturing every detail while the audience held its collective breath. No one had expected Keanu to speak up, least of all the host. For a split second, there was complete silence, broken only by the faint hum of the studio lights above. Everyone turned to look at Keanu, waiting to see what he would say next. His face was calm, but his eyes burned with quiet intensity. "I don't think it's appropriate to speak to my colleague this way," Keanu continued, his tone firm but measured. "Anna has worked incredibly hard to get where she is today, and she deserves respect." The words were simple, yet they carried immense weight. You could hear the sincerity in his voice, the conviction behind every syllable. The host blinked, caught off guard. He stammered for a moment, trying to recover. "Oh, come on, Keanu," he said, attempting to laugh it off. "It's all in good fun, you know? Just a little banter." But Keanu didn't budge. If anything, his expression grew even more serious. "This isn't fun," he replied, his voice steady. "This is disrespectful, and it needs to stop." The audience erupted into applause, unable to contain themselves any longer. Some people stood up, clapping enthusiastically, while others nodded in agreement. It was clear that Keanu's intervention had struck a chord, not just with those in the studio but also with viewers watching at home. Social media platforms were already buzzing with reactions, as fans tuned in to witness the unfolding drama. For Anna, hearing Keanu's words was like a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters. She turned to look at him, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. In that moment, she felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. She hadn't expected anyone to defend her so openly, especially not in such a public setting. Keanu's actions reminded her that kindness still existed, even in places where it often felt scarce. She managed a small smile, mouthing a silent thank you before turning back to face the host. The man, now visibly flustered, scrambled to regain control of the situation. "Well, I suppose we should move on," he muttered awkwardly, fumbling with his notes. But the damage was done. The mood in the studio had shifted entirely. What had started as a routine talk show interview had transformed into something much bigger. A moment of solidarity and courage that would resonate far beyond the confines of the television screen. Keanu's decision to speak out sent a powerful message. No one deserved to be treated poorly, regardless of their background or circumstances. As the rest of the interview progressed, the host kept his comments neutral, clearly wary of provoking another confrontation. Keanu, meanwhile, made sure to steer the conversation toward positive topics. He praised Anna's dedication and talent, highlighting her contributions to their film and emphasizing how fortunate he felt to work alongside her. His words weren't just kind. They were genuine, reflecting the deep respect he had developed for her during their time together on set. Anna listened intently, her earlier confidence slowly returning. By the end of the segment, she looked more relaxed, her smile reaching her eyes once again. Backstage, as the camera stopped rolling and the applause faded, Anna approached Keanu. "Thank you," she said quietly, her voice trembling with emotion. "You didn't have to do that, but you did. I'll never forget it." Keanu smiled warmly, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "No one should ever have to endure that kind of treatment," he replied simply. "We're in this together, and we need to look out for each other." Their bond strengthened in those moments, transforming a professional relationship into something deeper, a friendship rooted in mutual respect and understanding. Meanwhile, the audience filed out of the studio, buzzing with excitement over what they had just witnessed. Conversations erupted everywhere, from the lobby to social media feeds. People praised Keanu for his bravery and condemned the host for his behavior. Journalists and critics weighed in, analyzing the incident and discussing its implications for celebrity culture. For Anna, reading these messages provided some comfort amidst the chaos. She felt grateful knowing that so many people supported her, and Keanu's actions reminded her that kindness still existed, even in high-pressure environments, like Hollywood. As the interview came to an end, the studio lights dimmed slightly, signaling the transition to a commercial break. The host wrapped up the segment with forced cheerfulness, his earlier confidence now replaced by visible discomfort. He thanked Anna and Keanu for joining him on the show, though his words lacked sincerity. Anna nodded politely, her smile returning but still tinged with the weight of what had just happened. Keanu, on the other hand, remained composed, his expression unreadable as he stood up alongside Anna. Together they waved to the audience, who responded with enthusiastic applause. It was clear that the crowd had taken sides, and Keanu's bold defense of Anna had won their hearts. Backstage, the atmosphere was electric. Crew members whispered among themselves, replaying moments from the interview in hushed tones. Some expressed disbelief at how far the host had pushed his comments, while others marveled at Keanu's unexpected intervention. A few people approached Anna and Keanu to offer words of support. "That was incredible," one stagehand said to Keanu, shaking his head in admiration. "You really stood up for her." Keanu simply shrugged, brushing off the praise. "It was the right thing to do," he replied modestly. For him, it wasn't about gaining recognition or attention. It was about doing what felt fair and just. Anna, meanwhile, retreated to her dressing room to collect herself. She sat down in front of the mirror, staring at her reflection without really seeing it. Her hands trembled slightly as she reached for a bottle of water, taking small sips to steady her nerves. The night's events played over and over in her mind. The biting remarks, the awkward laughter, and finally, Keanu's unwavering support. She couldn't help but feel overwhelmed by the whirlwind of emotions swirling inside her. On one hand, she was deeply grateful for Keanu's courage and kindness. On the other, she couldn't shake the sting of the host's words, no matter how hard she tried to brush them aside. Her phone buzzed incessantly on the table beside her, lighting up with notifications from social media. Fans were flooding her, Instagram and Twitter accounts with messages of love and encouragement. "You're amazing, Anna," one comment read. "Don't let anyone bring you down." Another wrote, "Keanu is a true hero for standing up for you. You both deserve respect." Scrolling through the posts brought tears to her eyes, not because she was sad, but because she felt seen and supported in ways she hadn't anticipated. It reminded her that even in difficult moments there was a community of people who cared deeply about her well-being. Keanu joined her shortly after, knocking gently on the door before stepping inside. "Hey," he said softly, closing the door behind him. "How are you holding up?" Anna looked up, managing a small smile despite the lingering heaviness in her chest. "I'm okay," she replied, though her voice betrayed the effort it took to sound convincing. Keanu didn't press her further. Instead, he pulled up a chair and sat beside her, offering silent companionship. They sat like that for a while, neither speaking much but finding comfort in each other's presence. Sometimes words weren't necessary, especially when shared understanding spoke louder than anything else. Meanwhile, outside the studio, the incident continued to dominate conversations. Social media platforms were ablaze with reactions, hashtags like cheering and respect for Anna and Reka Keanu the hero trending within minutes. Viewers praised Keanu for using his platform to call out injustice, highlighting how rare it was to see such genuine solidarity in the entertainment industry. Others condemned the host, calling for accountability and demanding better treatment of guests on live TV. Journalists scrambled to cover the story, analyzing every detail and speculating about its potential impact on the host's career. Late night talk shows often thrived on controversy, but this time the backlash seemed too intense to ignore. For the host, the aftermath was swift and unforgiving. Clips of the interview went viral, drawing sharp criticism from all corners of the internet. Memes mocking his behavior began circulating, and opinion pieces dissected his actions, questioning whether he had crossed an ethical line. Some viewers canceled their subscriptions to the network, citing the toxic environment fostered by the host's antics. Advertisers grew nervous, concerned about associating their brands with negativity. Within hours, the host issued a public apology, claiming his comments had been misunderstood and insisting that he meant no harm. But for many, the damage was already done. In contrast, Keanu and Anna emerged as symbols of integrity and resilience. Their story inspired countless individuals to stand up against bullying and champion fairness in all aspects of life. It served as a reminder that fame didn't exempt anyone from cruelty, but it also showcased how acts of courage could unite people and spark meaningful change. For Anna, the experience reinforced her belief in staying true to herself, despite challenges. And for Keanu, it reaffirmed his commitment to using his influence for good. Together, they proved that real-life heroes aren't defined by capes or scripts. They're ordinary people choosing to do extraordinary things in moments that matter most. After spending some time decompressing backstage, Anna decided to address the situation publicly. With Keanu's encouragement, she posted a heartfelt message on Instagram. "Tonight was tough, but I want to thank everyone who showed me love and support," she wrote. "Your kind words mean more to me than I can express. Special thanks to Keanu Reeves for being my ally and reminding me that we're stronger together." The post quickly gained millions of likes, with fans leaving thousands of supportive comments beneath it. Many praised Keanu once again, calling him a role model for standing up for what's right. By the time they left the studio, the streets outside were filled with reporters eager to get a statement. Cameras flashed as Anna and Keanu made their way to their cars, surrounded by security. Neither of them stopped to speak to the press, but Keanu paused briefly to glance back at Anna. "You've got this," he said quietly, giving her a reassuring nod. Anna smiled, feeling a renewed sense of strength. Though the night had been challenging, she knew she wouldn't face it alone. With friends like Keanu by her side and a global community cheering her on, she felt ready to move forward, even if it meant facing similar situations in the future. As they parted ways, Anna climbed into her car, leaning her head against the seat as she reflected on everything that had happened. Despite the hurtful comments and uncomfortable moments, she realized something important. She had grown stronger because of it. The experience taught her that setbacks could become stepping stones if handled with grace and resilience. And perhaps, most importantly, it reminded her that kindness and solidarity could shine even in the darkest places. As her car drove away from the studio, Anna felt a quiet sense of peace settle over her, a peace born not from avoiding challenges, but from facing them head-on and emerging stronger on the other side. The next morning, the world woke up to headlines dominated by the events of the previous night. News outlets across the globe covered the incident in detail, replaying clips of the interview and analyzing every moment. The host's rude remarks toward Ana de Armas were met with widespread criticism, while Keanu Reeves's intervention was celebrated as a defining act of courage and decency. Social media remained ablaze, with fans and critics alike dissecting what had transpired. For many, it wasn't just about one bad interview. It was a reflection of deeper issues within the entertainment industry and society at large. Anna started her day quietly, avoiding the noise outside her home. She brewed a cup of tea and sat by the window, watching the sun rise over the city skyline. Her phone buzzed constantly on the table beside her, but she ignored it for now. After the whirlwind of emotions from the previous night, she needed time to process everything. Though grateful for the outpouring of support, she couldn't help but feel drained. The insult still lingered in her mind, replaying like an unwanted song stuck on repeat. But alongside those memories was another feeling, one of gratitude for Keanu's unwavering support and the countless strangers who had rallied behind her. Later that morning, Anna decided to check her social media accounts. She scrolled through the comments section under her Instagram post, reading heartfelt messages from fans around the world. One user wrote, "Your strength inspires me to keep going, no matter what life throws my way." Another added, "Don't let anyone dim your light. You're a star in every sense of the word." Each message felt like a warm hug, lifting her spirits bit by bit. Anna realized how powerful it was to know that she wasn't alone, that there were people rooting for her, even if they'd never met her in person. This realization gave her a renewed sense of purpose. Meanwhile, Keanu Reeves began his day with his usual routine: coffee, meditation, and some quiet reflection. He didn't seek attention or validation for what he had done the night before. To him, standing up for Anna was simply the right thing to do, a basic act of human decency. Still, he couldn't ignore the overwhelming response his actions had sparked. Messages poured into his inbox from friends, colleagues, and fans alike. Some thanked him for being a voice of reason in a chaotic world, while others shared personal stories of times they had faced similar treatment. Reading these messages reminded Keanu of why he valued kindness so deeply. It had the power to heal wounds and bring people together. By midday, the backlash against the host reached new heights. Advertisers began pulling their sponsorship deals from the talk show, citing concerns about associating with negativity. Viewership numbers dropped sharply as audiences tuned out, unwilling to support a program that allowed such behavior. The network executives scrambled to address the growing crisis, issuing statements condemning the host's actions and promising reforms. Behind closed doors, discussions about replacing him gained momentum. It became clear that the fallout would have lasting consequences, not only for the host but also for the show itself. For Anna, the turning point came when she received a call from her agent. "You've been invited to speak on another major talk show," he said excitedly. "They want to hear your side of the story and celebrate your resilience." At first, Anna hesitated. The thought of stepping back into the spotlight so soon felt daunting. What if she faced more criticism? What if the same thing happened again? But then she remembered something Keanu had told her the night before. "We're stronger together." With that thought in mind, she accepted the invitation, deciding to use the opportunity to share her truth and inspire others facing similar challenges. Preparing for the new interview gave Anna a sense of focus. She worked closely with her team to craft a message that emphasized positivity and perseverance. Instead of dwelling on the negativity of the previous night, she chose to highlight the lessons she had learned and the importance of standing up for oneself. When the day of the interview arrived, Anna walked onto the stage with confidence, greeted by thunderous applause from the audience. The host of this show was warm and respectful, creating a safe space for her to speak openly. As she talked about overcoming adversity and finding strength in difficult moments, viewers were moved by her authenticity and grace. Keanu, too, found himself reflecting on the ripple effects of his actions. Friends called to congratulate him, praising him for setting an example of allyship and integrity. Some even joked that he should consider running for office, given his ability to unite people. While Keanu laughed off the idea, he appreciated the sentiment behind it. He knew that small acts of kindness could create waves of change, inspiring others to follow suit. In interviews promoting his upcoming projects, reporters inevitably brought up the incident. Each time, Keanu responded humbly, emphasizing the importance of treating everyone with respect and dignity. As days turned into weeks, the conversation sparked by the incident continued to evolve. It prompted discussions about workplace bullying, the pressures faced by public figures, and the responsibility of those in positions of power to foster inclusive environments. Schools and organizations used the story as a teaching moment, encouraging people to stand up against injustice and support one another. Anna and Keanu became symbols of hope, proving that even in challenging situations, compassion and solidarity could prevail. For Anna, the experience marked a turning point in her career and personal growth. She emerged stronger and more determined than ever to use her platform for good. Whether speaking out about mental health, advocating for diversity in Hollywood, or simply sharing her journey with fans, she embraced her role as a source of inspiration. And though the memory of that uncomfortable night would always remain, it no longer defined her. Instead, it served as a reminder of her resilience and of the incredible impact one person's kindness could have on another. Keanu, meanwhile, returned to his quiet, humble lifestyle, content in knowing he had made a difference. He continued to work hard, staying true to the values that had guided him throughout his life. For him, the real reward wasn't fame or recognition. It was the knowledge that he had helped someone in need. Together, Anna and Keanu proved that heroism isn't limited to grand gestures or larger-than-life personas. Sometimes, it's found in the simplest acts of standing up for what's right and reminding others that they are not alone. As the weeks passed, the story of Ana de Armas and Keanu Reeves continued to resonate with people around the world. The incident on the talk show had sparked conversations far beyond the entertainment industry, touching on themes of respect, kindness, and standing up for others. For Anna, life began to settle into a new rhythm. She focused on her work, diving into her next project with renewed energy and determination. Yet, she couldn't help but feel a shift within herself, a newfound confidence that came from knowing she could face adversity and come out stronger on the other side. One afternoon, while filming a scene for her upcoming movie, Anna took a break to sit under the shade of a tree on set. Her co-stars chatted nearby, laughing about something funny that had happened earlier in the day. As she sipped water from a bottle, one of them approached her. "Hey, Anna," he said, sitting down beside her. "I just wanted to say how much I admire what you did after everything that happened. You handled it so well." Anna smiled, surprised by the compliment. "Thank you," she replied softly. "It wasn't easy, but I learned a lot from it." Her co-star nodded thoughtfully. "You know, sometimes we forget how powerful our actions can be. What you and Keanu showed everyone is that standing up for each other matters. It's not always about making headlines. It's about showing people they're not alone." Anna felt a lump rise in her throat. His words resonated deeply with her. She realized that the experience hadn't just changed her, it had inspired others to think differently about how they treated one another. That realization filled her with a quiet sense of pride. Meanwhile, Keanu Reeves carried on with his usual routine, balancing work commitments with moments of solitude. He spent hours practicing martial arts at a local dojo, finding peace in the discipline and focus required for each movement. Off-screen, he remained as humble and grounded as ever, avoiding the spotlight whenever possible. Friends often joked that he was the most famous person who didn't act like a celebrity. But despite his low-key lifestyle, Keanu couldn't escape the impact of what had happened. Strangers approached him in public places, coffee shops, parks, even grocery stores to express their gratitude. "You have no idea how much your actions meant to me," one woman told him during a chance encounter at a bookstore. She explained how she had been bullied at work and felt powerless until she saw Keanu defend Anna on live television. "It reminded me that speaking up is worth it, even when it's hard," she said, tears welling up in her eyes. Keanu listened, intently, offering a gentle smile. "I'm glad it helped," he said simply. These interactions reinforced his belief in the importance of kindness and encouraged him to keep leading by example. Back in the media world, the fallout from the talk show incident continued to unfold. The host, whose career had once seemed untouchable, faced mounting pressure from all sides. Networks distanced themselves from him, canceling appearances and collaborations. Former colleagues spoke out, sharing stories of past behavior that aligned with the pattern seen during Anna's interview. Critics argued that his downfall was long overdue, pointing to years of unchecked arrogance and disrespect toward guests. While some defended him, claiming his comments were misunderstood or exaggerated, the majority agreed that accountability was necessary. In response, the network hosting the show announced sweeping changes aimed at improving the treatment of guests. They introduced stricter guidelines for hosts, emphasizing professionalism and empathy. Viewers praised these efforts, hopeful that the incident would lead to lasting improvements in the industry. For Anna, this outcome brought a sense of closure. Knowing that her experience had contributed to positive change made the difficult moments feel worthwhile. She hoped it would serve as a reminder to future generations of entertainers and audiences that respect should never be optional. Despite the progress, Anna occasionally found herself reflecting on the darker aspects of fame. Late at night, when the house was quiet and the world outside seemed distant, she thought about the pressures of living in the public eye. Every word, every action was scrutinized and judged. Mistakes were magnified, and vulnerabilities became targets. Yet through it all, she clung to the lessons she had learned: resilience, self-belief, and the value of surrounding herself with supportive people. These truths anchored her, helping her navigate the complexities of her chosen path. Keanu, too, grappled with reflections of his own. Though he rarely sought attention, he understood the weight of influence that came with being in the public eye. He often thought about the responsibility he carried, not just as an actor but as a human being. In interviews, he spoke candidly about the importance of treating others with dignity, regardless of their background or status. His words resonated because they came from a place of authenticity. People trusted him because he lived what he preached, embodying the values he espoused. Their friendship deepened over time, forged in the crucible of shared experience. Anna and Keanu stayed in touch, exchanging messages and meeting for coffee whenever their schedules allowed. They talked about everything: their careers, their dreams, their fears. Through these conversations, they discovered a mutual commitment to using their platforms for good. Whether supporting charitable causes, advocating for equality, or simply lending a listening ear to someone in need, they embraced opportunities to make a difference. The bond they formed extended beyond personal connection. It became a symbol of unity in an often divided world. Fans marveled at their camaraderie, seeing in it a blueprint for meaningful relationships. Social media posts celebrating their friendship garnered millions of likes, with captions like "friendship," "goals," and "real-life heroes." To Anna and Keanu, however, it wasn't about fame or recognition. It was about genuine care and mutual respect, the kind of connection that transcends titles and accolades. As months turned into a year, the memory of the talk show incident faded slightly, replaced by new challenges and triumphs. Anna starred in several critically acclaimed films, earning praise for her performances and solidifying her place in Hollywood. Keanu continued to captivate audiences with his roles, blending action-packed blockbusters with heartfelt dramas. Together, they proved that talent and integrity could coexist, inspiring countless individuals along the way. Looking back, Anna realized that the incident had been a turning point, not just for her but for many others. It had shown her the strength she possessed and the power of solidarity in overcoming obstacles. For Keanu, it reaffirmed his belief in the ripple effect of kindness, reminding him that even small gestures could create waves of change. Together, they had turned a moment of adversity into an opportunity for growth, leaving behind a legacy of courage and compassion that would endure long after the headlines faded. A year had passed since the unforgettable night on the talk show, and life for Ana de Armas and Keanu Reeves had transformed in ways neither of them could have predicted. The incident that once seemed like a moment of humiliation for Ana had instead become a catalyst for growth, not just for her but for those who followed their journey. People still talked about it, not because of the controversy itself, but because of the powerful message it carried. Kindness and courage can change lives. Ana found herself at the peak of her career, starring in films that showcased her range as an actress. Directors praised her dedication and versatility, while audiences admired her authenticity both on and off screen. Yet what truly set her apart was how she used her platform to uplift others. Inspired by the outpouring of support she received after the talk show incident, Ana became more vocal about issues close to her heart. She spoke openly about the challenges faced by immigrants and women in the entertainment industry, advocating for equal opportunities and fair treatment. Her words resonated deeply with fans around the world, many of whom saw themselves in her story. Keanu continued to embody the same humility and grace that made him beloved by millions. While he avoided the spotlight outside of work, his actions spoke louder than any interview ever could. He quietly donated to charities supporting underprivileged children, funded scholarships for aspiring filmmakers, and mentored young actors navigating the complexities of Hollywood. Friends joked that Keanu's generosity knew no bounds, yet he remained modest about his contributions. "It's not about me," he would say when pressed. "It's about helping people find their way." Their friendship flourished over time, becoming one of the most cherished aspects of their lives. They stayed connected through regular phone calls and occasional meetups, sharing stories about their projects, struggles, and dreams. Keanu often reminded Ana of her strength, encouraging her to keep pushing boundaries and pursuing her passions. In turn, Ana inspired Keanu to embrace vulnerability, reminding him that even heroes need moments of rest and reflection. Together, they created a safe space where honesty and trust thrived, a rarity in an industry known for its competitiveness and superficiality. The ripple effects of their actions extended far beyond their personal lives. Schools began incorporating discussions about empathy and allyship into their curriculums, using Ana and Keanu's story as an example of standing up against injustice. Social media campaigns encouraged people to share their own experiences of overcoming adversity, fostering a sense of community among strangers. Even corporations took notice, implementing policies aimed at promoting inclusivity and respect in workplaces. What started as a single act of defiance had grown into a movement, inspiring countless individuals to make positive changes in their own lives. For Anna, the highlight of the past year came when she was invited to speak at a global conference on diversity and representation in media. Standing on stage before thousands of attendees, she reflected on her journey and the lessons she had learned along the way. When I walked into that studio a year ago, I didn't expect much. Just another interview to promote my film, she said, her voice steady and sincere. But what happened that night taught me something invaluable. We are stronger together. When someone stands up for you, it gives you the courage to stand up for yourself and for others. Her speech earned a standing ovation, leaving many in tears. Attendees approached her afterward, sharing how her story had impacted them personally. One young woman, an aspiring actress from a small town, hugged Anna tightly and whispered, "You gave me hope. Thank you for showing me that I belong here too." Moments like these reaffirmed Anna's belief in the power of storytelling, not just on screen but in real life as well. Keanu, meanwhile, experienced his own milestones. A documentary exploring his life and career premiered to widespread acclaim, shedding light on his quiet philanthropy and unwavering commitment to doing good. Viewers were moved by his humility and compassion, qualities that defined him as much as his iconic roles. Critics hailed the film as a testament to the idea that true greatness lies not in fame or fortune, but in the ability to touch lives and inspire change. Despite their successes, Anna and Keanu remained grounded, never losing sight of what mattered most. They celebrated each other's achievements while staying focused on their shared mission, making the world a little kinder, one action at a time. Whether attending award shows, working on new projects, or simply enjoying quiet moments away from the chaos, they carried the lessons of the past year with them wherever they went. As the anniversary of the talk show incident approached, Anna decided to mark the occasion in a meaningful way. She posted a heartfelt message on social media, thanking everyone who had supported her during that challenging time. "1 year ago, I faced a moment that tested my strength and resilience," she wrote. "But I also discovered the incredible power of solidarity and kindness. To Keanu Reeves, thank you for being my ally when I needed it most. And to all of you, thank you for reminding me that I'm never alone." Keanu responded with a simple yet profound comment. "Strength comes from within, but it's amplified by those who stand beside us. Here's to continuing to lift each other up." Their exchange sparked a wave of positivity online, with fans expressing gratitude for their example. Hashtags like "No Kindness Matters" and "Stand Together" trended globally, echoing the sentiment that unity and compassion could overcome even the toughest challenges. In the end, the story of Ana de Armas and Keanu Reeves wasn't just about one night on live television. It was about the enduring impact of choosing kindness over cruelty, courage over silence, and connection over division. It reminded people that every interaction mattered, no matter how small, and that even in the darkest moments there was always room for light. Through their actions, Ana and Keanu proved that heroes weren't born. They were made, one brave decision at a time. And as long as they kept shining their light, the world would continue to follow their lead.